Hamden, a quick-thinking mailman really delivered when it mattered the most. He saved the day when his mail truck actually caught on fire. Check out these pictures of the damage this morning. Holy smokes. Luckily, that postal worker was not injured. And not only that, listen to this. Somehow, he even saved every single piece of mail. Incredible. Investigators are still trying to figure out how that fire started. But again, hats off to that quick-thinking and quick-acting mailman.
Yeah, those images, incredible.
Incredible.